Hello, and pleased to meet you all. Yes, my name is Fiona Seymour. I'm the managing editor at Physiological Reports at Wiley. So I work alongside Susan Ray and with the editorial team. So what I'm going to talk to you about this morning I find is interesting as it highlights how the publishing landscape is changing. In publishing, we're hearing that authors, possibly many of you, are struggling with time and quality of peer review. You want a faster publication process, and you're looking to increase impact, usage, and visibility of work. And so speaking from Wiley's point of view, we're trying to help by partnering such organisations as Kudos, Figshare, Orchid, Research Square, and Publons. And these are what I intend to go through now. I'm not going to assume you know anything about these fairly new and emerging services, so it is very much a general introduction to them. Before I do, can I see a show of hands who have actually submitted papers to Physiological Reports? Okay, Sue, we've got some work to do. Why not? No, I didn't ask that. And regarding the desire to make your work more visible, does that resonate with you? Yeah, good. Okay, we're on the right lines. Fantastic. So let's start with Figshare. As its name would suggest, Figshare is all about sharing data, making data accessible and shareable. It's come about really because of two things. One, the researchers, you want to share your data, either sharing your own data with others or actually seeing other people's data, what's behind their work. And then we also have the funders who want more for the data to be accessible. They're mandating open data. This is now important as science becomes more open. So what is Figshare exactly? Well, in essence, it's a repository. That is what it is. But this repository allows you to upload, store, and openly share research data. And when we say data, this can be a simple figure through to a huge data set. Now, Physiological Reports, so what Wiley's data sharing service using Figshare lets you upload your data within the existing manuscript submission workflow. And Physiological Reports has been very much a part of the Figshare pilot. So in terms of the process, I'm going to assume that you are submitting your paper to Physiological Reports. Hint, hint. So first of all, you would review the data sharing policy on the journal's homepage. Actually, it's in our author guidelines. There is a title, Sharing Data. You would look at that, see that you are happy with that. Then you would submit, as you normally would, your paper, logging in or registering into the electronic editorial office system. And during the file upload step in the submission process, you would submit your data files by choosing data files from the drop-down menu. And it's worth mentioning here that for your data files to be peer-reviewed, they would obviously need to be submitted in time for that peer review. Now, if your article, so we've gone through peer review, let's say Sue Ray or one of the associate editors has accepted your article, congratulations, first and foremost. And this is at the point when your data will automatically be deposited into the journal's Figshare data repository. But it's not until your actual article is published that the data would be made publicly available. So in terms of viewing your data, your article it appears on Figshare with links back to your article on Wiley Online Library or also on Highwire. And then your published article on Wiley Online Library or Highwire has a link to the data on Figshare. And this would be done normally via data accessibility statement, as can be seen here. So data pertaining to this manuscript is deposited at Figshare, at DOI, and you would click onto the link. Actually, that's worth mentioning regarding the data that is stored in Figshare, that is given its own DOI and is citable. So in terms of the benefits, because we question what's in it for us, well, apart from time savings gained because your data is automatically deposited into Figshare, you will be able to display and share data under a Creative Commons license. You'll be increasing the discoverability of your article. It's in Figshare as well as where the original article is published. And as regards funders, well, they're happy because they can easily view and download the data. I think that's all I wanted to say about Figshare. So next up, Orchid. Orchid stands for Open Researcher and Contributor ID. It's a bit of a mouthful, so no wonder we refer to it in terms of its short form, Orchid. What Orchid, the organisation, is working towards is a world where all who participate in research, scholarship and innovation are uniquely identified. And that in itself is a great thing. But it goes one step further. Contributions connected to their contributions across disciplines, borders and time. And the latter part of that vision is extremely important. As we know, so much research work is interdisciplinary. So in the short, we have a unique identification for research and scholars, and the identification itself, it comes in the form of orchid.org/4 sets of 4 digits. And obviously those digits are different depending on who you are. That's the unique identification bit. And it is this ID that really provides the opportunity to solve author name ambiguity. It distinguishes you from every other researcher, no matter how your name is expressed. So in my case, Fiona Seymour, FC Seymour, Dr. Seymour. It doesn't matter because my article would be connected to my ID, and that is what is important. So this connection to your research activities, I think that is what makes the big difference from previous identifiers, the fact that Orchid is being integrated into research workflows and linked to information on research activities such as publications, grants, and patents. So a few scenarios where Orchid can help. When reviewing past work, for example, lots of stakeholders will want to see your past work, and you can simply show your profile. Also, as mentioned, it may simply be to help track that you are the right person, so distinguishing your articles from those of authors with similar names. And to summarize how you benefit from having an Orchid ID, you get the credit for your work, you comply with funder mandates, you save time when reporting on past activities, and you have the flexibility around who can and can't see your information. So I hope I've convinced you now that you all want an ID. It is rapidly being adopted in the researcher community. And it's encountered in a variety of systems, in publishing systems, in university systems, in grant application systems. I'm sure it will be encountered in many more as we move forward. taking Wiley's journals as an example, because that's what I know. As for Figshare, the functionality is integrated into the process at submission. So most of Wiley's journal submission sites allow you to create an Orchid ID and to associate it with your account. And here is a typical submission site. So as we go through the process, you would come to this and you can see the Orchid. Beneath it, you have the option of creating an Orchid ID if you haven't already done so, or associating your existing Orchid ID. Of course, you can just go Google Orchid and go straight into their system. The option is there also to get your Orchid ID so that when you came into the, let's assume you were, again, sending a manuscript to Physiological reports, you would then just, as we said previously there, associate your existing Orchid ID as part of the submission process. So here, don't know why I just chose Journal of Chemometrics. This shows that the ID is actually attached. So tick. And then what that means is when your paper is published, your Orchid would be displayed on your article. It would also be submitted to Crossref, which essentially would mean that you could connect your paper back to your Orchid record. Next up is Publons. So I think Publons, peer review, in particular supporting improvements in peer review. This is really an example of peer review starting to work around the digital process. And their mission is to speed up science by making peer review faster, more efficient, and more effective. And I'm sure we all want that. That's a good thing. So as part of the process of doing that, again, every review has a unique identifier that links back to a record on Publons. Now, you may notice a theme here, and it's an important one, in that in making science more open, in being able to understand where data is sourced, we are also seeing unique identifiers, and they are becoming more commonplace. And so I just wanted to point out that Publons actually partnered with Orchid in 2015 to connect reviewer activities. So what is Publons about? In a nutshell, it comes down to three things. Publons works with reviewers, publishers, universities, and funding agencies to turn peer review into a measurable research output. It is about peer review recognition. It collects peer review information from reviewers and publishers, and it also produces reviewer profiles. And these are important because these are what can then be used in promotion and funding applications. So much of the focus has been on rewarding the researchers. Basically, researchers are being rewarded for putting review activity online. And so in doing this, it's making the peer reviewer role more visible. Peer review discussion is now taking place online. And importantly, others are able to see your peer review experience. And here is an example of somebody's experience on Publons. Whole list of pre-publication reviews there, but it can be also post-publication. And if we wanted to know what this person had reviewed according to a particular journal, we just need to click on the link, the logo for the journal itself, and that would bring up the various reviews for that particular journal. So I guess the question is, will Publons credit rewarding services be enough? And actually, Wiley wanted to know that too. Last year, we undertook a pilot program with Publons across 11 journals. The pilot was to assess the impact on acceptance rates of invitations to review, the standards of the review assessment, and also to see how engaged reviewers were in the process generally. In terms of the pilot process, so the editor invites the reviewer. That's no change. At this point, then, an email would be sent to the reviewer telling them about Publons, saying that they could get official credit. And then the reviewer has the option to opt in, again, in our electronic editorial office system. And if this is done, when the reviewer submits the review to the editor, once complete, the review would automatically, the information about the review would automatically be sent to Publons. And then, following this, a private link would be sent back to the reviewer. So some headline figures on the pilot. Overall, really, we observed a slight improvement in reviewer acceptance rates for the pilot journals, but also faster reviewer times among reviewers who had opted in. And as a result of this, the pilot actually did go on a bit longer, but Wiley is now offering that service to Wiley journals that use Scholar One, and Physiological Reports will be one of those journals. Research Square. Research Square is all about making research accessible to a lay audience. This is important as science is often complex. As we know, it can be often open to misinterpretation, misunderstanding, and it doesn't even necessarily get to the target audience that it was intended to get to. So there has really been a need for a more dynamic format for communicating research, one which brings authors' work to life at the same time as driving new readers to papers. And to this endeavour, a team of scientifically trained writers and animators have come together really to create 2 to 4 minute videos. That is the focus of their work. And the video summaries, basically the team removed the technical jargon, they add in visuals, they are keen to promote the key findings without the jargon, without all the complexity. And a process is gone through, and a final video is posted to YouTube. Now again, Wiley is trying to assess the demand for such video summaries. We do feel that as multimedia content increases in popularity across academia, this will be something that authors want more and more. As mentioned, it is a useful tool for taking away the complexity, but it can also help you disseminate your work more broadly, and it adds a different option for doing that. The last service I would like to talk about is Kudos. One thing I mentioned at the beginning was about increasing impact, usage, and visibility of articles. Kudos actually has been around for a few years, but if you want to make your research more discoverable, this has been set up to do exactly that. And I would like to think that when you read these questions, your answer is a resounding yes. Of course, we can evaluate a paper's relevance, but filtering the increasing volumes of published material has become a chore, quite frankly. And while you may want to increase the impact of a given paper, you may not know how to do this, or at least you may not know how to do this with ease. So this is where Kudos comes in. What is it? It's a platform designed to measure, monitor, and maximize the usage and impact of published articles. It's a different way of using social media to get your research to others in the digital community. And the platform enables users to create profiles for their published articles. And this is done following their workflow, which is based around 4 words: explain, enrich, share, and measure. So firstly, you are guided to add information to your article by using lay abstract writing tools, be that a short title, a lay summary, or an impact statement, for example, or further by adding links to related resources. And again, why are we doing this? This is all in an effort to make your articles more engaging for the digital readership. And the reason you, as author, are asked to do this is because you know your research better than anybody else. If you have to write a short title, for example, then you are going to do it more quickly and easily than any other service or anybody else can do. So then it's about taking action to share your publication using a variety of social sharing tools, be that tweeting, blogging, and so on. Kudos will guide you through that process. And finally, your results are measured, because there's no point in explaining or enriching or sharing if you're not going to measure your actions. And so your actions are measured, and you can see them quite clearly on a personalized dashboard. Now, this allows you to measure the effects on clicks, views, downloads, citations, and so on. And so you are able to understand exactly what your personal, individual impact has been. And so I think they are the key ingredients when I think about Kudos. It is lay abstract writing tools, social sharing tools, and dashboards. So in conclusion, there's a lot out there. Whereas the goal of writing a paper may have been to publish it, in many respects, publishing a paper is now also the start of a journey, one in which increasing and measuring an article's impact and attention is the journey. So thank you for listening.